I'm Patrick Murphy, the Association Director of Community Engagement and Partnerships for the Hockomock Area YMCA. Child protection and keeping kids safe is our top priority at the YMCA, and throughout the years, the Hockomock Area YMCA has been proud to be a leader locally and nationally in those efforts. From policies to procedures, trainings to facility design, our YMCA has a strong culture built around keeping children safe. Child protection is a full community responsibility, and as strong as a YMCA can be around this topic, it is not possible to keep kids safe without our communities on board. As proud as we are of what we do on a daily basis inside our YMCA walls, we are equally as proud of our community partners who, in collaboration with the Hockomock Area YMCA, have championed this culture and initiative. One community partner in particular would be the town of Foxborough and the Foxborough Public Schools, who throughout the years have become a model in the Commonwealth and across the country for their commitment to keeping children safe. Today, I'm proud to introduce and take part in a great conversation around this topic with Deb Spinelli, former Foxborough Public Schools Superintendent, and current Foxborough Public Schools Superintendent Amy Burdos. Deb and Amy have led the charge when this was first introduced in the early 2000s and continue to advocate daily in their roles and as a leader in the community to keep children safe. If you or others are looking to take a stand, please reach out today, and thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. Amy, we'll begin with you. If you could tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and what community you're from.
Sure. I'm Amy Burdos. I'm the Superintendent of Schools in Foxborough, and I've been in Foxborough for about 11 years, and formerly the Assistant Superintendent in Foxborough, and I've been an educator for over 25 years.
Patrick, we know you work at the Y, but tell us more.
Absolutely. So I am the Association Director of Community Engagement and Partnerships. I've been a Y professional for about 16 and a half years and a little over 7 years with the Hockomock Area YMCA. I have the pleasure of overseeing our Child Protection Initiative, and I represent all 15 of our communities within the Hockomock Area YMCA.
Deb, you have something in common with Amy.
I do. Debbie Spinelli. I am the retired superintendent of schools in Foxborough. I preceded Amy, and when we did work together, Amy was the assistant superintendent when I was the superintendent, so we've had a professional affiliation for many, many years, and still do on a personal level. So my husband and I have lived in Foxborough for 42 years, raised our children there. The majority of my educational career was in Foxborough, not all of it, but the vast majority of it. And I ended my career as the superintendent. But my husband and I have had a long affiliation with this Y. I think when we first moved here in 1980, he joined the Y, and within a year, I joined this Y. So we used to come up here a lot before the Foxborough Y was even in existence.
Now I know why Amy told me that you're a great judge of character. Second question, and this is perfect for you. Talk about tossing a softball to you, Patrick. Why should child protection be a top priority for a youth-serving organization like the Y or any organization?
Absolutely. So it's our community's responsibility to keep children safe. And when we think about a youth-serving organization such as the YMCA, we are a community in itself. And for us, with the amount of children that we see on a daily and annual basis within our programs and services, for us, keeping them safe is our top priority. Be that from our policies, be that from our program, be that from the training with the staff that we have them undertake as well. But for us, child protection is absolutely number one, where parents, families, and individuals entrust their children in our care every single day.
Deb, why should it be a priority?
Well, I think that people have historically not been as aware that when children are anywhere, it doesn't, in the home, in the schools, in any public space, not just the Y included, but any public space, that they haven't always been safe. So our awareness is wherever children are, they have to be safe in those spaces, whether they're playing youth sports, and all of those places that they are places that the Y has always been devoted to as a community organization in keeping children safe and raising awareness among adults anywhere in society that this is an important thing.
Amy, same question.
I think to echo what Debbie is saying is that in addition to the safety in the community and everywhere they are, we also know that if they do not have safety and security first, they're not going to be able to grow in a healthy way when it comes to academic or socially or emotionally, and that we need to have an environment where they feel safe, they feel that they have a safe place to go, safe people to talk with, and then also relationships. We know how key relationships are from children and adults, and you don't always know where those relationships are going to be formed, and it could be in the after school programs or through any of the other programs that the Y offers, those special relationships that will really make a difference in the future for children.
Deb, is someone who had a career working with children. What made you get involved as a community partner with Child Protection?
So I can still remember back the first day that Ed Hurley told me about this initiative and said, do you want to partner with us? I immediately said yes. It was the easiest yes I think I ever had in my role as a superintendent. And he was surprised that I was such a quick yes without even actually knowing a lot of the details. But the reason that I was such a enthusiastic yes right from the gate was because even as educators who we devote our entire careers and every day that we're at work to children, we were very, very comfortable talking about planning for child neglect, physical abuse, nutrition issues in families, issues of poverty around children, but we never talked about child sexual abuse. We didn't have any tools for it. We did not have a training program to raise awareness about it. We had no action plan. And so I had felt that that was, of all the types of ways that children can be negatively affected in society and in their family home, let's face it, it's there too, that this is the one area we were the most uncomfortable with. And so to have a community partner as strong as the Y to come in and say, we have something, you know, would you like to partner, was a gift. And I think at one other forum that we had with the National Y, I remember saying I felt like the cavalry had arrived. We were going to have language to talk about it. We were going to have specific training that had a name that was research-based, that was scientifically based, that people were going to help us train our staff. So we started right away with staff training, with administrators and counselors, people most in tune to that sort of thing, but very quickly started rolling it out to all of our staff. And as an organization, we can require that everyone, bus drivers, cafeteria workers, not just educators, everyone in the Foxborough Public Schools was trained within the first 1.5 to 2 years maximum. And that became even more important for Foxborough because less than a year later, the community, as pretty much every community has, was seriously rocked by allegations of child sexual abuse that went back 40 years. So it became even more urgent for the community that we had those tools already in place. So for us, it was a gift, and I couldn't have been happier with the result.
Amy, how did you get involved?
Working as the assistant superintendent, as Debbie is the superintendent at that time, we were right there in partnership together as well as in partnership with the Y to be able to have those trainings for every single member of our faculty and staff, as she had said. So as assistant superintendent, I also oversaw professional development. So in ensuring that everyone had the training and that we were also making sure that not only was the training there, but the support for staff later on if there's questions. I think one of the pieces that she's talking about here is making it more comfortable. It's a conversation that's hard to talk about. For teachers and staff, if you have something that you can see, such as physical abuse, it's there, you can see it. This is not something that you can see. And the training is really important. It makes you really think differently when you are in community settings. It also makes you look at things differently. And so just being able to equip our faculty and staff and knowing that we had the Y to support us in providing that professional development for teachers, it made us not only have the language, as she was saying, but the opportunities to look at things differently within our facilities and then better protect our students. And it also then was a springboard for us to look at our curriculum and to think about, well, at what age that's appropriate are we talking with children about protecting themselves in a different way. And so that language then went into classrooms with our adjustment counselors, our school nurses, and our wellness teachers.
Patrick, same question, but you come at it from a different angle.
Without a doubt, The pleasure is, throughout the years, I've seen child protection and the tactics and the trainings and the awareness as a YMCA professional change. So whether it is a actual training or curriculum that we and staff members are going through, but then also the culture around it, where it is a topic that many do not want to discuss, and it's a topic that we as Y professionals also take very seriously on when do we introduce that to our staff and our volunteers as well, where we have many young volunteers who help out with us, but our staff ultimately start around age 16. And so for us, it's about awareness and building that culture of awareness. And that awareness then stems for our staff, be them 16 or ages all the way up. They take that into their other professions. They take that into their other organizations that they're affiliated with. They take that to coaches, and they begin to not only educate them through what they're going through at the Y as far as trainings and policies, but then also get them curious on how can we find out to do more. The community impact that I've seen out there, really especially within the Hockomock service areas, there's awareness that's out there, and it is a topic that does need to be discussed. So from a community setting, I'm proud to see that throughout the years as well.
Amy, what positive impact have you seen through the years as a YMCA or as a partner child protection within the Y and the communities the Y serves?
I think that close partnership within the whole Hockomock and serving on the Child Protection Committee with the Y and being able to have the connection with other affiliations and providers for resources, if it is someone who to talk to afterwards. We know that we have a network of resources because of the Child Protection Committee here at the Y, having that connection, and then also whether it's through the Board of Incorporators and any other opportunities to be able to talk with all of the many resources here. But again, it's that connection and knowing that it's just a phone call away in order to get additional support if it's needed to be able to do everything that we can to protect children.
Patrick, what positive impact have you seen?
Well, I'll use our summer for an example, where we serve thousands of children within our summer camps. And through our staff, many of them, young staff, that this is their first job as a camp counselor, and what a responsibility that is in itself, we have been able to be that resource, but we've also been able to help in many situations. As you can imagine, these children, they may not have the best home life. They may have some very negative things that are going on at home, such as sexual abuse and the disclosures they've made in some of our youngest staff. And for our youngest staff to understand that responsibility, but also to be trained properly on what to do when that happens, has ultimately, and which we really hope, has helped these children within these situations. And you think about that as a young child who's coming into work, and this might be their first place of employment, what a responsibility that is, beyond having a fun day and typical summer camp activities, but to be able to have that knowledge when that information is disclosed to them to ultimately start the process on what we need to do, to me is such a positive impact. And as mentioned, it takes a community to keep these children safe.
Deb, same question.
I think the Hockomock Y has such an incredibly positive reputation. Just, it's renowned. And people have such respect for anything the Hockomock Y does that I feel that when this all started, that partnership with the Y gave us the strongest foundation we could have had in this very difficult, sensitive area. So when it came to the schools trying to branch out into our community, saying this is an important initiative, will you let us, will you then partner with us? Having had the foundation and the partnership with the Y, I felt got us further into the community much faster than we would have otherwise when it comes to youth sports, when it comes to town employees, when it comes to library, that we were able to get in and convince others to join us in this because of the Y's reputation. And I don't think it would have happened as strongly, as thoroughly, and as fast as it did without that.
Amy, what positive impact have you seen?
Getting towards the tipping point. When we talk about having everyone to be aware and to know what signs to look for and to have the language, we know that it's much more prevalent with child sexual abuse than anyone really knows about. And if we can continue to train everyone and have our community aware, we are really going to get close to that tipping point and make a real difference for children. And that in itself is the best thing that we can do.
Patrick, this question certainly geared towards you and the others, but you especially. What hurdles, barriers have there been or could there be in getting other communities on board with this initiative?
So one of the things we are very fortunate as a YMCA, and the Hockomock Area YMCA in particular, is we are a resource for the towns that we serve, as well as throughout the Commonwealth and beyond. And barriers or hurdles, it goes to that this is a topic that necessarily does not want to be discussed. Not that it should be discussed, but no one is necessarily starting the conversation with child protection. And far too many times when communities do get involved, it's more reactionary than proactive. And we can understand that. We understand time, we understand constraints, but at the end of the day, it is about being proactive and understanding not only what comes with the trainings, coming with the awareness, and having others within that community and community leaders not only being educated but advocates when it comes to this. And we're here to help with that. We're here to break down any of those barriers that might be out there.
Deb, I'm sure over the years you were asked by
Yes.
your colleagues in other communities, should we take part in this?
I think that I was actually quite surprised at other communities who did not take this on with such passion as Foxborough and the Hockomock area did. And I think it's because people are uncomfortable, or truly they want to believe that it doesn't happen in their community. In fact, the very first training I went to when Ed started, and I was sitting next to someone, I will never forget that training, and somebody actually said to me, well, this doesn't really happen in my town. And I thought my eyes were going to pop out of my head. I said, it happens in every community. What are you talking about? And I think that people want to believe that so badly that they have blinders on. So I've been surprised at how many hurdles and barriers there actually are, because as educators, you'll do anything to protect kids and you're all about children. But other people and other communities, there's always so many priorities and so many things to do that it's an easy thing to say, well, I'll get to that maybe sometime, but I have all this other stuff to do. But as Amy said earlier, there's nothing more important than this, and other things can't happen if you don't keep children safe. So I think that it's just that, maybe if you haven't had a personal experience or awareness of what really happens to children when they are sexually abused, maybe you don't have that interest or passion, or you're not on fire about it. And maybe people do need more of a personal story to get more fired up. But I really sometimes have trouble understanding why it hasn't taken off in other places, because ultimately it is all of our responsibility as a society to keep children safe. So I think people just need to think a little bit broader than they were thinking.
Amy, same question.
I think the other piece, as far as the uncomfortableness of the topic, is that people need to also understand it doesn't mean that they're going to be the judge and jury if there has been a disclosure. It's a matter of bringing it forth when something has been brought to your attention and going to the proper people. I found it ironic as I was driving here today on the radio, just as I was pulling into the Y, it was an advertisement and it was on child sexual abuse. And it was a matter of providing a hotline if you know of anyone to call this number. And I don't know if it was because I was more aware and thinking about the topic at this moment, but I'm glad to know that it's out there more and that more people are talking about it. And I think that's because of programs like the Y and partnering with school systems and having that out there more so. But going back to the barrier piece is getting people to understand you're not the judge and jury, you're the one that's bringing it forth and can make such a tremendous difference in a child's life and going forward.
Deb, when you think of child protection and the Hockomock Area YMCA, are there any words, statements, or phrases that come to mind?
The first word I thought of when you said that was exemplar. I think the Hockomock Y has been the exemplar in leading the charge on this. I truly do. And just the being able to be out in front and leading people on this, like you said, a very uncomfortable topic. People want to be led a little bit, not take it on their own. But exemplar is really what comes to mind. I can't imagine a better example of why serving their community in one of the most difficult subjects that we could ever hope to tackle. And giving people confidence. I think that the training they provided gave people confidence to, so that's another one, confidence inspirer, because once you have the training, you feel like you don't, as Amy said, you don't have to have all the answers, you don't have to be sure, but it gives you the confidence that if I say something when I'm supposed to say something, when I notice something that I'm uncomfortable with, or a sign in a student, that having the training gives people more confidence that they can go ahead and fulfill their role in a person who is, you know, part of the eyes and ears of a community, and not worry that they are alone in it.
Amy, what word, statement, or phrase comes to your mind?
Strength. When I think about the why, talk about the purpose of the why, part of that is to strengthen individuals and to strengthen community. And how better can you be strengthening individuals for individuals and strengthening the community if we can all be here to support children and the greater community?
Patrick, you're at a disadvantage. They've already used some great words.
And very good ones. Committed or commitment. And I say that as we, as a YMCA and a community organization, we are committed to our communities, we are committed to our membership base, we are committed to everything that we do within the walls and outside of the walls of the YMCA to keeping children safe. It's the first thing we think of whenever we start any type of new program, initiative. If we were to design a new building or facility, it is our commitment to ensure the children that are inside our care are safe. And our commitment is every single day. We ask our staff not only that they are trained, but they live what they learn, and they go through, and it's part of their culture. And ultimately, they are here to ensure the safety of those that are coming into our programs as well. And so those two, the tense and phrase of that, but commitment and committed would be the two for me.
Amy, we'll begin with you this time. Last question. How, and I'll throw in the word why, should others get involved in keeping children safe?
There's only everything to gain. Everything to gain. Our children are our future. We're here to be able to provide for them the best future that we can. And if part of that is just simply listening and being aware, how can you not open your ears? How can you not open your eyes to do what we need to do for all children? That part does not bring a cost, and it only brings wonderful gains to the health and safety and the future of our children.
Patrick, how can others get involved?
Absolutely. Well, for starters, they can reach out to me directly as a resource to them. They can reach out to me by phone or to my direct email, and I'm happy to provide avenues in how they can get involved. That could be as an individual, that could be as a business, an organization, or a fellow town that we serve. And through that, we can not only provide the trainings to employees, to staff, to individuals, but also we can help, not unlike our friends in Foxborough, help them get on the path to become facilitators in trainings as well, where, you know, there's several of us who do the facilitated trainings within our YMCA, but we are happy to go out to any community setting to do so as well. We are more than happy to also get them on the path to becoming a facilitator, because as we can grow in numbers, we can ultimately train and educate more. So reaching out to me directly, I'm more than happy to have that conversation and start that conversation in many instances on what is next.
Deb, how and why?
Hard to follow that one. I do agree. I think it's our collective responsibility as a society, as an intelligent, educated society, that this is an important topic, and it does tend to have that snowball effect. So whether you're a volunteer at the Y, whether you're just a member at the Y, you enjoy their activities, if you've heard about this some way, or, you know, whatever your affiliation is, this can have a snowball effect that you can, as you had said about your youngest volunteers or employees here, what other aspects in your life do you participate in? Your hobbies, your full-time job, your interests, the places you go. Find out what those workspaces or companies or community organizations that you are involved in, what do they do to protect children? Find out. And if it sounds like they've got it together, that's great. If it isn't, contact the Y, because I think that curiosity about what other people and places are doing to protect children can spark that snowball rolling down the hill, and see if you can connect those two things somehow. So think about the other places that you go as a person and whether you can have an impact there.
Amy, Patrick, Deb, thank you for helping promote this very important subject.